I hope if everybody sees this, I hope that you tell them she really isn't that crazy.
I'll tell them that. Okay, so check 1, 2.
Do what?
Say check 1, 2.
Oh, check 1, 2.
Okay. Let's see if it's good. Yeah. So today we are here with. You get to introduce yourself.
Oh, I thought you were going to do that. Paula Smith, grandmother to the director here.
Okay, and the first question I ask is, do you have any life advice?
Just do your best to get to that old age because there's not a whole lot to enjoy after you get there.
Okay, and what makes you say that? What makes that your life advice?
Because I think a lot of people, they feel like they work and they're putting off enjoying life until they get old. And a lot of people, after they retire, they really don't have time to enjoy any life. A lot of them will pass away. A lot of them will get to where they can't maneuver enough to enjoy life. So they've let that part of their life when they were somewhat younger go by when they would have been able to do all those things and would have been able to enjoy them.
Okay. Okay, and at any point you can ask me questions too.
What do you feel is the difference between young people and old people?
I think the difference is probably experience.
In terms of what?
Older people, they've experienced more in life. Younger people, they've experienced less in life.
Do you think that experiencing more in life would make that older person better than the younger person who has shared less in life?
No, I don't think that makes them better.
No. Okay, I agree with you. I think sometimes you can have young people that are very mature and are very organized and have their life laid out. You also have older people who've lived a full life, but really when they aren't working anymore, their life is gone. So what has that experience done for them when they can't enjoy any of it once they retire?
What's one of your favorite life moments?
Let me think. One that I remember the most, maybe, is when Brady and I met and got engaged. He and I both were alpha people, very headstrong and very independent. And we were sitting at the side of a small lake. It had a lot of mud, like where you think the water would come up, but didn't wash away that amount and still left it muddy. And we got into an issue that we totally disagreed on in big terms. And I got to the point where I was so upset with him, I took my ring off and I threw it toward the lake. And it landed in the mud. And he had to plod out there in the mud and get my ring back. I said, this should teach him not to argue with me and he wouldn't have to do these things.
Really?
Yeah.
How did he react?
He wasn't very happy. I said, if I get a ring, you're going to have to go out there and get it. I'm not going out there to get it. And he went out there and got him.
Why is that one of your favorite moments?
It wasn't so much a favorite moment. I've had enormous numbers of favorite moments. It's hard to pick from them. That is one that has stood out in my mind the most, of how we were when we started our life together, when we were young and very independent, very alpha. And the difference in how we were when we got to be older. And we are the same people, but the marriage was totally different. But as far as favorite moments, I have so many of those. It would be hard to pick one.
Do you have another favorite moment?
One of my other favorite moments, yes. I had Jennifer, she's the oldest of my 3 children, and then the twin boys are about 2 years younger than her, close to 2 years younger than her. And we had told her, she was old enough to know that she was going to have baby brothers, and that she was excited about it. Well, when they were born, they were premature, and one had to stay longer than the other one because he was underweight. So he had to get to 5 pounds. So we brought the first baby home, and Sis was so excited. She had the baby brother. So we went to pick up the other baby brother, and in her mind, she wasn't thinking 2. So when we brought another little boy and put it on the other side of her in the car, she was speechless. And it was like she would go, the whole way home, not saying a word, just like, where do these people come from? Where do these little boys come from? I had one, why have I got 2? And she finally got around to asking that question, and we told her, well, remember we talked about we were going to have twins, but she was so flabbergasted when that second one came in that she just had forgot about the other one, and she just didn't know what to do about having one on each side of her. She looked at him the whole way home.
Really?
Yeah. It was so funny. It was so funny.
What makes that one of your favorite moments?
Because that was the beginning of our children, having all 3 of them. That was the very first time I actually had all 3 of them together, the very first moment. And that's special. You never forget that. And it changes the way you look at your family for the rest of your life.
How so?
You realize that you have brought new life into this world. And that new life is yours. And that you just going to be responsible for them being raised to be a good person, to have a full life, to have a happy life, to have a religious life, and mount to be a good person. And it's like you think, how in the world am I going to do that? And if I can't do that, what am I doing to them? So it was a real eye-opener that I hadn't really thought about till you actually looked at, here's 3 human beings that are my human beings, mine and Brady's human beings. And they're part of us. And we're going to raise them to be an adult, like our parents raised us. But what kind of parents are we going to be? Will we be good parents? Will they be good people? Will they be happy people? And it was like you're looking at a huge mountain at that point in time in front of you that you're going to have to climb. And it's just an awesome thing to have to think about.
So it wasn't scary to think about that?
Very scary. Very, very scary. That's why it was such a stark awakening to me, because before that, you think about being a parent, and you have to raise a kid. But you don't realize what raising a child that you bring into this world really means. the depth of the impact you have on the person they're going to be. And will be forever. And what if it's not good? Then I've got a child that I brought life to. It's going to be unhappy. It's not going to be full of everything they can enjoy and fulfill themselves with in life. And you were sitting there like, I've never had children before. How am I going to know how to do all this? You know, where am I going to get the knowledge? How am I going to be sure that I'm doing the right thing with them? And it is a scary, scary thought. And never being a mother before, and I was in my early 20s, you just have not got to that maturity that you think you need to be a parent. And I don't know that you ever get there, to be honest. The whole way through raising kids it's learning one thing after another. But it is so exciting and so precious to watch them grow and see them come to maturity and the person they become. And the pride you have of what they've accomplished, not what you've accomplished, but what they've accomplished. That you've given them the things they need to grow into that and to see them fledge. You know, like the birds fledging from a nest, to watch them fledge into their life. So it's a ongoing learning new things.
What are some things you learn from raising kids? And like being a grandmother, like what's some things you've learned?
Being a grandmother is very different from being a mother. And I have to say, I love that. Because when you are a mother or a father, you're responsible for raising your kids, disciplining your kids, letting them know how to be the right kind of person, the person they need to be. When you are a grandparent, that raising is up to your children. And you can just fully enjoy spoiling, fully enjoy doing anything with your grandchildren, because at the end of the day, you go home. They stay with the parents. So you get to, the love you would sometimes want to have endeared your children with, of just, you know, spoiling them terribly, you get to do with your grandchildren. But yet you're not responsible for what they turn out to be. So all you have to do is just love, love, love on your grandchildren with no responsibility.
How do you think, how is like seeing me grow up?
Seeing you grow up, each child and each grandchild is very different. Seeing you grow up, certainly Bobby and Jenny has a way that they felt was the best way to raise you, a blend of American and Indian, to get the best of both worlds, for you to have that capability of understanding both. So that was something new for me too, because your response to me as your grandmother was different than a child who would not be from a biculture, two cultures. And what I saw you doing and growing and becoming was different than my kids were. And I enjoyed the learning of that. But I felt, to be honest, I felt you were spoiled rotten. Not just by Bobby and Jenny, but especially from Bobby's parents. I just could never get over. I mean, they loved you all so much. I can remember they let you mark colors, crayon colors, all over their walls. And I thought, what in the world? But they loved you enough to let you do that, and it don't come off. And it just amazed me to see that part. But that was more of an independence than I would have given you. So that was the difference, and I was amazed at the difference in child rearing between the two cultures. And I enjoyed the most seeing that and seeing you, Allie and Zarina grow up, because I saw a side that I wouldn't have known. And it was exciting. It made you part of the person of who you are today. And it was good. I learned a lot from that. What do you think about being, or how do you think, what is the effect of having a biculture and being reared in a biculture home?
I think it definitely taught me to have an open mind. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm a lot, like, very accepting of, like, other cultures and other things. Mm-hmm. And, like, I'm very open-minded because of it. I think I have more of an understanding of both cultures too, which is really nice. But the main thing I would say is open-mindedness.
I think I agree with you, because I think when you have that experience and it's good and you learn something, you open your eyes to the fact that other cultures have a lot to offer to you as a person. I mean, there is no culture that is totally bad. There's no culture that is totally good. I think when you're exposed to the cultures, you choose the things that make you a better person, keep that and grow with it. The things that don't make you a better person, you leave alone. But you can have many cultures that you learn from. And I think your experience from two cultures does exactly what you said.
How is seeing me grow up? Like how is, like, me grow as a person? Like, how did I start out, and then how do you see me develop as a person? Like,
okay, you started out as a baby, like most babies do. Lots of times they have the same personalities or very similar personalities. Some cry more than others. Some laugh more than others. Some have more health problems than others. So, that's there, and you go through that in being an infant. I think as you got a little bit older, I think you were shy. I can remember when you first were starting to learn to talk. And you didn't seem to get the gratification from the steps you were able to attain when you were real young. In other words, when you first learned to walk, a baby's just fantastic. I learned to walk, and it's like you just took that in stride, just like, hey, yeah, I did that. And the excitement was low-key in you, but I think you are a low-key individual. I think as you went into being a teenager, I think there were struggles in finding your place, in finding who you were, and starting to build the man you want to be. And I think that was a difficult time that you stressed in during your teenage years. And I think it made you sort of more laid back and not wanting to be out there in front or being in the center of attention, if you will. And I've always felt you were very quiet, very subdued, but you are a deep thinker. You think about things very, very deep. Very few people do that. And you spend a lot of time with trying to figure out what you have questions about. And I think even to this day, I think you're still looking to some degree for the man you want to be. You're finding your way. And you're going step by step and you're getting there. But I think you still have a little bit you want to know about yourself. And to feel like, I'm okay. I'll be able to stand on my own feet, take care of myself, take care of my family, and that the life I've had with my family have given me the cornerstone to do that on, but that I can do it now. I think that peace has to come to you yet, that confidence. I could be wrong. Have been many times. Where do you think you are?
Who do I think I am? Mm-hmm. Like right now? Mm-hmm. That's a hard question.
Well, mine wasn't so easy, you know. Because you're the one that can be truthfully say who you are and what point in this journey are you.
At this point in this journey, I would say I'm always trying to become better. I definitely think I still have flaws.
We all do, and you'll never get rid of all of them.
Yeah, and I hope, like I know I'll always be flawed to some extent, but I want to be less flawed.
Well, and I think that the one thing you have to remember is that everybody is flawed, and you've got to be ready to forgive yourself. That did you make a mistake? Yes. But am I a better person because of that mistake and what I learned from it? Then that mistake was worthwhile. That flaw was worthwhile. And I think you've got to be able to forgive yourself for behaviors that you do that you didn't mean to do or you'd like to have done in a different way. Because when that happens, you actually grow from what you learn from those flaws and mistakes and makes you a better person.
I feel like it's sometimes hard forgiving yourself for those flaws because sometimes those flaws keep coming up and you're like, oh, I should have done it better. Like, why did I do this again? Like, I know it's a bad thing. And like, I did it again. And like, it's like, you kind of beat yourself up because of it.
I know, but you got to remember, you're a human being. And we human beings, we flaw every day of the year. You make mistakes. There's nothing that you couldn't maybe do better. It's not one of those things that when you react to situations or people, it's not a matter of whether you've done the right thing, the best thing. I think it's more or less of what connection did you have with that other person you were relating to, and did it make them better and you better as a result of it? Now, maybe you could have done it another way and be less flawless, but still yet, there has been good, usually you can find, coming out of any behavior. So it doesn't help to beat yourself up for what you do. It's more important for you to learn and see what it's going to make you do later in your life. The person is going to make you stronger. So that flaw was a necessary thing for your development.
I actually like that.
Do you? Okay.
I see what you're saying.
And I think when you look at it that way, your flaws aren't so bad because your flaws are what you learn from.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. You don't learn for the good things you do. You never forget the bad things and what you learn from that. But you forget the good things. It doesn't stick with you like a flaw that you've went through and I wish I'd done it different. That sticks with you. So flaws are a good thing for humanity.
What do you think makes a good person?
That's a hard question to answer. There's a lot of good people, and I don't think there's any one thing that necessarily makes a good person. I think you have different categories and different levels of good people. But I think the attributes of a good person that I think you would see in anyone who is a good person would be honesty, humility, love, and the desire to live and make a difference in the world. And with those attributes, that gives you what you need to search through to become everything you want to be, because that leaves everything open to you. Because there's a lot of people in this world today that they wouldn't know the truth, it was before them. They don't have any standard to live by. They don't care about the other person. And I feel bad for those people because they will never see the feeling of great accomplishment because they've not had those particular values. Because that's where you get so much self-satisfaction from, where you see the most impact you can have on other people. Because you can see the result of what you did, how it's impacted and changed them.
What do you want to be remembered as from your life?
I want to be remembered as an independent woman who loved greatly, who was loved greatly, had great parents, great grandparents. I had a family who loved me and I loved dearly. My life was fulfilled with my work, my career, as well as my family. But I want to be remembered mostly that I could laugh, that nothing is so bad that you can't find something to laugh about. When you get old, so many people, they lose that big guffaw laugh. And you feel so good when you can have a deep-hearted laugh. And I think it keeps you young to some degree. And I want to be remembered in the fact that I am not one that just stopped living or stopped wanting to enjoy things or couldn't laugh at my own self for some silly thing I did. That I can still enjoy and laugh at things like that, because I think that makes you more comfortable as a person. It makes you more ready that when the time comes that the Lord says you need to come home, you're ready, because you have lived through as much in life as you could. You did good things, you had bad things, but in the end, the person you become is through the connections you had through your whole life. Because each one of them has an impact on the person you'll become. And you want to become the best person you can. And if you can look back on your life and see those markers and see how many people you had, your family, how successful they've been, you can look and say, I was a tiny piece of that, just a tiny piece of that. And just enjoy that knowledge and be able to laugh and smile and enjoy the life you have because of the life you've lived.
Does the thought of death scare you?
When I was younger, I was petrified of death. And I can remember, I would, in my prayers, I would say, God, just let me get my kids grown, and then I'm okay. But then when my kids got grown, it's, God, please let me see my grandchildren. So there was something always putting off your dying. Let me live this, let me live that, let me live this long. When you get to the point where you feel that you have done everything you're going to do in your life for the most part, and you can sit back and you can look on your life and you can be happy about what happened. You can be sad about a lot of things. But for the most part, if you've done all those things as you were getting older, you can look back and say, my life was relatively very good. I was loved. I was blessed. And when you get to that point and you feel like you've attained the most you're going to attain as a person, all of a sudden, you're not afraid to die anymore. Because I've provided everything I can provide. And when the time comes that the good Lord wants me to come home, I'm okay with that. But I think that comes with maturing, because up until then, I was petrified of death, petrified of it. Because if something happened today that I would die next week, I have lived a fantastic life. I've lived a full life, a life full of love, a life full of pain, disappointments, but the best life I can even think about having. And because I can do that, what else am I going to attain?
Do you think all the good moments were worth the pain that you've been through?
Yes. I would not change. I truly feel I would not change a thing in my life. Some of the things are very painful, and some of the things are fantastic. But each one of them had a purpose in making me who I am and what I am. So I don't regret any of them. I want the good with the bad, because it's made me stronger, the bad has, and the good has let me enjoy what the bad let me accomplish. So.
Do you think that everything works out?
No. I mean, that would be, marshmallow in the sky, you could say. No. There are many things that don't work out to what you think worked out. But I also believe, I'm a religious person, I also believe that what I think worked out maybe isn't what really worked out. That God had another purpose. I can remember in some of my career, I wanted a job really bad. And I interviewed for it, and I didn't get it. I was devastated. And I thought, what is so wrong with me that I didn't get that job? I have to be more qualified from that person. Why didn't I get it? And I went on and on pouting about it and just trying to figure out what was wrong or what did I lack. And as it ended up, I got a bigger promotion. That God had that coming, and that's why I didn't get the first. So when you let God have a place in your life, then I may not get what I want now, but God always has something else for me. And I had something that was a lot better.
Another question I want to ask is, how was losing Papa? How did you get through it?
I don't know if I can talk about this or not. That was probably one of the hardest things I had to get through. Because Papa made me a lot of the person that I am. And we were strong together. We both were strong independently, but very strong as a couple. And when Papa was so sick in his later years, and I took care of the house and everything had to be done, and Papa, and saw him go through the misery that he did to find his place in heaven. When all that was over, and after he was gone, and I was back at home, Jenny was there. And I remember one thing that I said, I don't know I'll be ever able to be the person I was. I don't know that I'll ever have the strength to be that independent, strong woman, because I had lost so much of myself in him that I didn't know if I would find it again. And that probably was one of the most scary times in my whole life, because I couldn't see my way clear to go forward. And Jenny and Bobby was down there, and they helped a lot, a whole lot. They took care of getting Brady's clothes taken care of. We changed the comforter on the bed, because we would change it, because if you walk in the bedroom where you have lived with your husband and you see the same thing, it's like, how do I ever separate the fact he's not here anymore? But if you change some of the things that's in the room, you can at least begin to start something anew without leaving him behind. And I ended up going to a lady who could see forward in lives. And I'd gone to a seance she had when I was several years before that. And she actually wrote 2 books. She'd been on Oprah Winfrey, and she was from England. And at that seance, she normally didn't do them, but she did for my friend, because she was such a good friend of hers. And there probably was 12 of us ladies there. And her ability was that she had connections with the afterlife. Not all the time, and not for a long period of time. And she couldn't always do it. And I never will forget that at that seance, she talked about some of the people that was there and some of what came from touching base with their loved ones who had gone on. And it was amazing. Now, she didn't with everybody, and she didn't know us, and we didn't know her. And she came around to me, and she said, Paula, you are loved more than almost anyone I know. She said, you have so much love around you. And I wanted to know, because Daddy was still alive then, and Mother had passed on. And I said, is Mother ready for Daddy to join her? And she waited a few minutes, and she came back and she said, your mother said to tell Ples it's not his time. Ples is what my mother called Daddy. And nobody knew that. And it was her way of saying she wasn't ready for Daddy to come. Tell Ples it's not his time yet. That was the exact words that I had faith in her then. I mean, at that point, I couldn't deny that. So then I went to see her on an individual basis after Brady passed away to see if she could help me get my thoughts straight. And it was a very good visit. And I went to her apartment, and we sat down, and she said, things that she would see in my future and so forth. And she could usually only see 2 years out. She couldn't see beyond that. And I said, I feel like I'm on a merry-go-round, and I can't get off. I can't find a place to get off and find out who I am. And I remember the one thing she said, Paula, don't push getting off. When it's your time to get off, you'll get off. And I did. She was right. The time came where I knew it was time to get off and start my life and find myself. So it was, she was an amazing person in my life. What do you see ahead for your life?
What do I see ahead for my life? Mm-hmm. Like in my future?
Mm-hmm. What do you see you as a 40-year-old man being?
Hopefully a dad. Like, I want to be there for my kids. I want to make them happy. I want to make my family happy. I want to be married. I want to be in a home. I want to be in a job that I really like, where I'm helping people. Mm-hmm. I'm just creating good impacts on people. I want to be in a place where I'm I feel like a really good person. I feel like a really good person.
You feel very good about yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I want to be in shape so I can move around, mm-hmm. be there for my kids. And I want to be peaceful and nice.
That's a very comforting place to be. What you view is what you want to be. How do you now make all those things happen? What steps do you take getting to that dream?
Like what steps do I take?
Mm-hmm. That will get you to being that person at 40.
Working out for sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking about personal.
Person?
You as a person. Not necessarily the physical, but I'm talking about what's going to get you to be that man you just described from here to then.
I think I'm going to need a good head on my shoulders. I'm always going to have to learn, always be willing to learn. I'm going to have to have a consistent work ethic. I keep going, I keep building upon what I already have. Mm-hmm. I don't stop. I think I'm gonna need a firm mindset to where I'm going, and I know where I'm going. Mm-hmm. And I know the person I want to be. I know where I want to go, so I know the steps I need to get there, and what I need to do and what I need to avoid. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing is just being able to keep learning, keep adapting.
How do you feel about if you have a failure?
Failure? I think failures are hard, and I beat myself up about it, especially if I repeat it. Mm-hmm. But I think failure is a good thing because it does help me learn.
Do you think it makes you become stronger?
Well, I guess it depends on what type of failure, because I feel like some failures, they're just a setback.
Yes, but it makes you more capable to accomplish that later on because you've learned from that failure. So it does make you a stronger person inside. is what I was getting at.
That is true, yeah.
What do you think about death? How do you think you will deal with death of your parents?
I don't know how I'm gonna deal with it. That's something that I'm not sure. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with it.
Why?
Death is scary. It's, especially for the people around me. Like, that's scary because I feel like it's something I can't imagine. Like, and it's something I'll just have to get used to. It's something I'll always have to remember, and it'll always stay with me.
Well, and I think the thing to remember too, I was with my parents is they may have died, but they're still with me. All the memories and all the raising and all the times we had, that didn't die. And I think that's easier to look at death. But I think anybody that is the age you are, I was at your age, terrified of the event of death, period. Because it seems like it's such a cut and dry ending. And it is for us because we don't see that person anymore. But I think death becomes something that you realize you have to deal with as you go through life. And that's going to be death of loved ones, death of friends, death of your own family. And that is hard. That is hard to deal with. But you never, even though they're dead, you never lose what you had with them, what part they played in your life, making you who you are. And I think that you find great satisfaction with that, because then you're carrying them with you.
I agree.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this interview, on like the questions and everything?
I think the questions are if you answer them truly, are very deep. I think that if you just answer them off the top of your head and not give any thought to it, it don't have the impact.